All right, it's another Friday on Proline TV, and that means we're going to wrap things up in the NFL and college football. Of course, the week for both already underway. College football starting on Tuesdays every week over the past month or so, but those aren't the biggest games in college football. A lot of big ones coming up tomorrow, a couple of games tonight. And of course, the NFL, most of the week, 11 games will be on Sunday, including another game, the last game overseas in Spain, which I'm sure is going to get great ratings between Washington and Miami. How's it going, Mark?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be one of those 100,000 people that might not tune in. I don't know.
Yeah. I got to ask you, I mean, really, how in the world, speaking of Miami, I mean, that had the strangest outcome of the year. It's just, I know Buffalo's having issues. I get that. We'll talk more about the NFL when Jim comes on a little bit, but it's just typical of the NFL this season. It just didn't make any sense.
Well, there's a lot going on in Miami, and again, we'll pick it up when Jim comes on, but it starts with management not having any desire to fire Mike McDaniel because there's no answer to firing him right now. And they're going to address it, probably clean house at the end of the season. But it's kind of weird what's going on here. You know, Tyreek Hill, all that garbage et al. It's just a real mess down here right now.
Yeah. With the GM out, they're going to have a new coach. I mean, unless McDaniel wins out or something, but that ain't happening. Okay. So let's talk some college football. And let's go ahead and pop up what's going on here in college football, starting in the SEC. And once again, Texas A&M, another impressive win last week against Missouri. They just keep chugging along and making me feel pretty satisfied that I've had them as my number one ranked team the past 3 or 4 weeks, ahead of Ohio State and Indiana. Ooh, and I just think that they've proven that. They just are that talented. They've had big wins earlier this season, including at Notre Dame. They have big games almost every week in the SEC. I don't think you could say that at all again with Ohio State and Indiana. And Texas A&M is in a really good situation right now. Looks like they're in the playoffs no matter what, because I don't expect them to lose 2 out of 3 or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's about time, right? Because I know we had Texas A&M. I know you isn't it funny? Don't you love it when I know how disgusted you were about constantly being on the side of Texas A&M and they constantly let you down. And of course, as soon as you give up on them, enough of that, that's when they're undefeated.
Not only give up on them, but use a big play against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
exactly. So that was like a double whammy, per se.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, kudos to them. He's doing a great job. Mike Alco is, and I'm sure they're satisfied with that hire there just about right now. It'll be interesting to see this football team. Last game of the season, okay, they're going to go to Texas, and that's going to be the game that's going to put them on the scales. If they beat Texas and then go into the Big 10 or Big 12 playoffs as the number 1 top seed, it's going to be difficult to take them down. If they lose to Texas and make the playoffs nonetheless, the question will be whether or not that bubble burst, that losing that first game, ends up hurting him come the Big 12 playoffs. So that'll be an interesting outcome, that last game of the season.
Yeah, they got an FCS team next week. They'll beat South Carolina this week. So anything short of getting upset this week, they're in the playoffs. They could lose the Texas game and go to the SEC championship game and lose. They'll still be in the playoffs. Yes. A 2-loss SEC championship loser is not going to make it. But I'm sure that's also not going to put him in a great situation confident-wise going in. So, but I was talking about this the other day on my show, which was I was posing the question of, sometimes it's better to lose before the playoffs because you don't have that feeling, and you just don't know how it it's almost like you need a little bit of reality hitting you in the face that we're not so perfect. If we do this, if we're sloppy here, it's going to cost us. Not that they've been necessarily sloppy all year, but I do wonder if it's better for them, either the Texas game or in the SEC championship game, to lose.
Well, psychologically, it probably is because it's like a relief valve, a steam relief valve. It takes some pressure off of them. to no longer be perfect in every game they play. As long as they know they're confident that, they can still play to that level of that undefeated football team. But I personally feel that first loss is going to come, like I mentioned, at Texas, in Austin, the last game of the football season, and we'll be interested to see how they react moving forward from there. Speaking
of Texas, so they've got the game against Georgia. We got the two big games in the SEC, and so we can put the line here, and that is this is it. So these are the teams. Well, Oklahoma's they're not gonna. They have no shot for the SEC championship game. So you really have Oklahoma though against Alabama. And what's important for Oklahoma is to avoid losing so they can get to the playoffs. That's why the game against Alabama is so big for Oklahoma. For Alabama, we know it's big because of the championship scenario. And also, if Alabama, this is, again, it shows you how tough the SEC is. If Alabama loses, they now have 2 losses, meaning that they may not be able to lose again.
Well, they won't be able to lose again, Greg. You can't go into those playoffs with 3 losses.
Yeah, I mean, so what happened? But what happens if Alabama loses 1 game, still gets to the SEC championship game?
But they're going to have to win that SEC championship game. If they don't, adios.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that probably will happen.
Yep.
And that just shows you that it's just real tough in the SEC. Georgia against Texas. And this is it for Texas. Texas has got to beat both Georgia and Texas A&M. There's nothing else they can do. They put themselves in this position by losing to Florida. And so, and look, maybe they're playing their best football of the year, which it looks like, I guess they are. I can't say wins over Kentucky and Mississippi State in overtime are good wins, but they did have a nice, comfortable win against Vandy until giving up all those late points. But they still have to win these games now. Do you have any confidence at all that they have what it takes to beat both of those teams?
Oh, for sure they do. I mean, look at their body of work. Only one time they've been out-yarded this football season. They've held 5 teams to season low yardage. Those are the characteristics of really good football teams. And that's the main reason, part of the main reason that they're undefeated. So if they can continue to play at this level.
I'm talking about Texas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about A&M. I thought
Texas. Do you think that they can? Do you see that they have what it takes to beat both Georgia on Saturday and then Texas A&M?
Yes. If for no other reason, they're dogging up against Georgia on Saturday. Okay, that's the first time they're going to be an underdog this year, and they were the number 1 preseason ranked
since
team
week 1.
They were a dog at Ohio State. Yeah, that's true. They did. They were the number 1 ranked preseason team, and now they're scrapping and clawing their way to get back in here. They do have those 2 losses. They're going to have to win out to make the playoffs, which means winning every game moving forward, beating Georgia, beating Texas A&M, and winning the Big 12 or the SEC championship. That's a pretty tall order to ask of a football team. But I think what works for them in this favor is a couple of things. Number one, I mentioned about defenses. They too have held 5 opponents to season low yards. And you've also got, I think what works in their favor is Arch Manning looks like he may be the Arch Manning that people expected him to be at the beginning of the season. And if he ends up playing that way, they're going to be a real tough team to play, to beat. And they'll be the type of team I don't think nobody will want to play. There's a lot of talent on that football team.
Yeah, Texas is 30-1 right now to win the national championship. And which makes sense because just one loss, they're done. So, but look, I mean, if you have confidence that Texas can do what Mark says, even though, again, it's going to be a pretty tall task, they are getting 30-1 because you have to think of this too. They'd have to beat Georgia. They'd have to beat Texas A&M. They probably get to the championship game. They have to beat a good team there. Then they got to beat 3 more good teams in the playoffs to win the national championship. I think I want more than 30-1 to tell you the truth.
I understand what you're saying. And it goes out the window if they don't beat Georgia.
Yeah, one loss. It's all over.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other part of the scenario is they would likely play A&M again, right back in a rematch. If A&M, if A&M's undefeated and they play them and they beat them the last game of the season, it's still going to be a matchup in the Big 12 or SEC championship game again. So, a lot of things can unfold inside this conference. Alabama and Georgia both want to have their say. But I know one thing for sure. When Alabama plays, Kalen DeBoer will be wearing his black hoodie on the sidelines. His black hoodie, which he's never lost with Alabama since he's been the head coach there. 16 games he's coached with his black hoodie, and he's won all 16 games. Expect to see nothing about Kalen DeBoer other than in a black hoodie from this point forward.
Okay. Well, are you surprised that line has gone down a little bit? I've seen some books that have it at 5.5 Alabama now.
Yeah, I think what they're reading into that is a little bit of the Oklahoma, the need situation there for Oklahoma. But
must win.
Yeah, must win. And, if you must win, you're not very good. So, I don't like to back teams in must win roles. I like to back teams that if they do win, what extra do they gain or benefit from it, but not to have to win because it puts pressure on that team. And I think it puts pressure on Oklahoma here. I like Alabama in this football game.
Yeah, I like Alabama as well, and I've had no problem taking them because of their home record. They're now up to 25-7-1 as a home favorite since 2020, 5-0 this year as a home favorite. It's hard to go against that, especially because we have no idea if John Mateer is finally going to break back out and be the quarterback he was before the hand injury. He's looked nothing like that player since the injury. And to me, if you're taking Oklahoma, you've got your fingers crossed, you've got your lucky charms. All you're doing is hoping that he's back to the player he was before the injury. And that's asking a lot to just hope.
Well, it's looking more and more like he wasn't even the player that they thought he was supposed to be. I'm not blaming it all on the hand injury, but he was kind of erratic and spotty. I know the first time when the hand injury occurred, it was in that loss at Texas, and they had been perfect prior to that. But again, just like all these good football teams, it's all about defense with Oklahoma. Everybody they've played is a season low yardage mark, except one, and that was a second low against Tennessee in their last football game when they last played 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Alabama is kind of one-dimensional, which is why I don't really know. Even though I like them, obviously, to be a tough championship contender, I just don't know. I mean, it's all about the passing game with them, and it's not like they have a dominating defense. They have a decent defense, good passing game, well coached, but I just don't know if they have the whole mix of everything that you need to win a championship. As far as the Big Ten championship, it looks like we're still on a collision course for Indiana and Ohio State after Indiana survives Penn State last week. And look, it's a nice moment for Indiana and their fans. You always love games like that, but that's a bad sign for me because this has happened twice to them now. I mean, they just got by beating Iowa. They just got by beating Penn State. Those are not playoff teams.
Well, what it shows is they're vulnerable, is what it really shows, right? They're not this monster that
and they don't have a tough schedule. And I looked at their schedule, Mark. We talked about it last year and again this year, and I looked at their future schedule, and it will be until the 2030 season before they play a Power 4 non-conference game. Well, I mean, come on, you can't keep doing that.
That sounds like Southeast Conference type stuff,
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, sooner or later they might have to, the committee might have to, say, because I think it's going to happen. I think if next year or two, if they're in a situation where they're on the bubble, I think the committee's going to say, no, you're not in. That schedule that you've been putting together for the past 4 or 5 years, it's going to work against you at some point, and you're not getting in. Because it's, but we'll see what will happen because Mendoza could be leaving, and it's going to be interesting to see what Cignetti can pull out of his hat this time. Will we be able to get another big time transfer quarterback or something like that to keep his run going his first couple of years in Indiana? But it's looking awfully like we're going to get to Indiana, Ohio State, unless Michigan can beat Ohio State at the end of the season, and sooner or later, that's just not going to keep happening. So,
well, remember Indiana got crushed at the Horseshoe by Ohio State last year, so they'll go into that game with some extra incentive. And it was also Kirk Cignetti's team that got crushed, and he's been masterful in revenge. So these could be a lot of handicapping factors coming in Indiana's favor in that game against the Buckeyes. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
And USC plays Oregon next week, and that could be a monster game with the winner, especially if it's Oregon, still in a really good position to go to the playoffs. But if USC beats Oregon, then both of those teams are going to have to sweat it out as far as the playoffs are concerned. Moving on to the ACC, and then you see we have now 5 one-loss teams. Because we have the Georgia Tech upset. We had the Virginia upset over the past couple of weeks. Pittsburgh does not play a conference game this week because they host Notre Dame. And then SMU still hanging around. Virginia Duke this week. We talked about that game on the show yesterday. You can check that out at Playbook ATS podcast. But this is wide open. I still if I had to just take one of these teams to get to the championship game, I'm still going to side with Georgia Tech. I still got to find, and keep in mind too, that Georgia Tech has one more ACC game left after their game this week against Boston College, which they should win. And that's the game against Pitt next week. So that becomes a monster game because Pitt, again, as I said, they're not playing ACC this. So next week, more than likely, the winner of the Georgia Tech Pitt game will, we know it'll be Georgia Tech, but we got to keep in mind if Pittsburgh upsets Georgia Tech, that means Pittsburgh will have 2 losses if they lose to Notre Dame. And then Pittsburgh still has to wind up hosting Miami in the last game of the season. So even if Pitt beats Georgia Tech, that doesn't guarantee they're going to go to the ACC championship game.
No, it doesn't. A nice year by Nails, Narduzzi, this football season. One of the hottest teams in the country right now coming into this particular weekend. They're on a major run as it's 4 or 5 wins and covers in a row for this football program. So they're beginning to believe in themselves. But the thing that surprises me the most in the ACC this year are the 2 teams that were expected to be the best teams in the conference. They now sit in 6th and 10th place in the conference. I'm talking about Louisville and Clemson, who are playing each other tonight on Friday. It's a big game for Louisville to continue to keep moving forward. Clemson scratching and clawing just to become bowl eligible. Big, huge, disappointing year for Clemson. And I would say if you had to add an award for the most disappointing team in college football this year, it would go to the Clemson Tigers.
And they're playing the game tonight, Louisville and Clemson. I kind of like Louisville on that one. I don't know if they'll drop 2 straight. But how about that? That was one of my double-digit upsets last week. And it came through with Cal winning. I just could not figure out why that line was so big, 18 or 20. I thought that, and let's remember too, Louisville was not without their number 1 running back last week, Isaac Brown. He's a big part of what makes that team tick because he's a very physical running back, and you just took him out. Now it's real tough for him. But it also just shows you the parity once again in all these conferences. You just never know what's going to happen from week to week.
Right, so. Exactly.
All right, and we wrap up our talk with the Big 12. Don't forget, in a few minutes, Jim Feist is going to join us to talk some NFL. And even though we have these 1-loss teams, Texas Tech, BYU, Cincinnati, Texas Tech is the only team that looks like they are destined for the playoff, for the championship game. So it doesn't look like that's going to be any different after their convincing win last week against BYU. I got to ask you, how surprised were you? And this is kind of weird when I see this. All week long, the spread's 10-10 against BYU. And then we did the show last Saturday, game day. And we get off the air, and I go ahead to check the lines. And the line had jumped up to 13. And I'm like, why? And I want to check and see if anybody was injured. What was it? Nothing. And Texas Tech goes on to win convincingly. It's almost like, well, what did they know? I mean, how did it go up 3 points in one day, and then they kind of blew them out? It's almost like somebody knew something. Like maybe BYU, something went on with BYU that BYU didn't let anybody know.
Well, my best guess to that, Greg, is that was probably a major move by a syndicate, and maybe the Billy Walters syndicate, because he's famous for playing games late. Sat back, didn't touch the game early on. Sometimes he would take leads on games and then come back and go the other side. Didn't touch that game early on, so it sat stagnant most of the week.
Okay.
And then here it comes game day, and all of a sudden we're going to pounce. And it looks like they pounced on Saturday. in the football game. I think they saw some holes to BYU, and they thought Texas Tech's body of work this year warranted them being favored by more than 10. I think that's how that all came down.
So is this your advice then, that in whether it's NFL or college, especially college, because the points can be a lot bigger and quicker. So if we're watching a college line on game day move 3 or 4 points, and we notice there's no significant injury going on, should we then jump on the team where the points are headed towards, that maybe they know something about it, or is that being too risky?
Well, I don't think you jump on it because you don't know why you're jumping on it. You're jumping on it just basically because of a line move. That's probably the wrong thing to do, because you're not sure who the people were involved that made that line move. If you were for sure, you knew it was Billy Walters' group, that held some weight. If it wasn't Billy Walters' group, it could have been an oil baron
Okay.
from Texas Tech who decided, okay, I'm going to put $2 million on this game. Okay.
All right.
So, maybe it was that kind of a move too as well. We don't know.
Okay. Anyway, Texas Tech wins that game easy, so they're going to be their schedule. They don't have any tough games left, so they'll be in the championship game. And then it's up to BYU and Cincinnati. Both teams have tough games this week. I actually think both teams will win this week, but hey, they got tough games. BYU hosting TCU, Cincinnati hosting Arizona. I actually like Cincinnati a lot in that game. But as far as those two teams are concerned, as long as they don't slip up and then they play each other next week, it looks like the winner of that game is in really good position to go to the championship game against Texas Tech.
Well, I got to give you your due, Greg. You've been on Cincinnati all season long, and boy, oh boy, have they showed well for you. It's a football program that come back and didn't have a whole lot as far as experience goes. Got out, lost their first game to Nebraska, and it was like, oh, here we go, another mediocre year for Cincinnati. And they've done nothing but win every game since, until they went to Utah 2 weeks ago in their last game. The thing that concerns me a little bit is that in amongst those wins, in their first 4 wins, they coughed up season high yardage in 3 of those games. And I truly expected them to come back and regress from that point forward, and they haven't. So that's a tip of the hat, if you will, to Scott Satterfield and the great job that he's done with this football program. And I think you have to tip your hat to them and give them their due. There's nothing they've done wrong all football season long. I don't know if I'm completely bought in, but at some point a person's going to have to buy into them. They beat Arizona and BYU both back-to-back home games. I can guarantee you they're going to have a tough time at TCU. But still, give them the credit for all the good work that they've done thus far of this football season for the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it's. I agree. I think they're going to have to put in that kind of an effort. But like you said, last game of the season at TCU. So even Arizona State, Utah, and Houston are still in it. Utah's got the big game against Baylor. They're a heavy favorite in that one. I think Baylor's going to give them a good game. Arizona State without their quarterback the rest of the season. So I don't believe in them anymore. And Houston had that disappointing loss against Central Florida. Against who they lose to a couple of weeks ago? Oh, West Virginia. Yeah. And now they're kind of on shaky ground as well.
Yeah, no excuse for a loss to West Virginia at this stage of the football season anyway.
It's nice to see Rich Rod's got that team headed in the right direction so quickly, too, because they've got 4 wins. It looks like he's got himself a nice young freshman quarterback. And I suspect West Virginia will be an interesting team to look at next year. So they're at Arizona State, by the way.
And they're not going to get a 6th win because they're going to close up the season with Texas Tech.
Yes, that is true. Yeah,
right.
That ain't happening. All right. So that's our college football talk for the week. We have a condensed show. We have about another 15 or 20 minutes, and we're going to start talking some NFL now. And that means Jim Feist joins us.
Hello.
Mr. Feist, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. I spoke to Andy and Victor today. We had some good conversation, posted some video podcasts and great information.
Great.
Yeah, those the interview that you did with Victor is already available on the channel. You can check it out if you're watching the show live. Otherwise, you could check out the video with Andy, which will be available more than likely later tonight on Friday night. So a lot more videos, great content from a variety of handicappers. And that's also something that we want to let everybody know about regarding our YouTube membership platform that you can check out. All you have to do is click the join button right there on the screen. You can find it on the homepage of our channel here at Proline TV, and you can actually find it at the bottom of every video that you're watching right now. Just click the join button, and you'll see right there that we have several tiers that arrange all sorts of different perks, but the main thing are the picks from both Mark Lawrence and Jim Feist, and then we're going to be adding Andy Isco and Victor King next week. So really excited about offering these membership opportunities to our viewers, guys.
What's nice, Greg, is you don't have to pay for a membership. Correct?
Well, I mean, you got to pay for. You don't have to pay for a subscription, but you have to
you
pay.
Don't have to pay a subscription.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay to walk into Costco. Okay.
No, you don't have to do that. So the memberships range. But by the way, there are free opportunities that we will be letting you know about regarding the opportunity to check out some of our memberships, like a trial basis. That is something that we're going to get into. But hey, for the bottom line is they range from $40 to $100, which is very inexpensive when you're talking about the variety of different handicapping opportunities that you're going to get in all different sports too. It's not just football. So, okay.
Yeah, we have Andy, we got Victor, we got Mark and myself, and the bundle package is what, $99 a month?
Yep.
And does Greg jump in on the bundle package with us?
I will jump on the bundle package. Yes, I'll have things
Nice.
that will, be a bonus. Let's just put it that way. I'm not the professional handicapper here, but yes, I'll provide bonus content.
Your record's been very good.
I appreciate that.
I'm afraid, Jim, though, that people are going to want to hunt Greg down for his pick on the New York Jets is what I think they're going to want to hunt him down for.
Well, the thing is, he got the shirts and the hats. And
Yes.
I do.
I can't believe that he would actually wear that in public.
Well, I'm a forward thinker, and I feel real. Let's put it this way: if Rich Kotite had just been hired by the New York Jets, I wouldn't have bought all of that merchandise. But I feel real confident that they have the right head coach. And it's just a matter of a couple of years, and they're going to be turned around just fine. So,
well, they've been saying that for 20 years. So good.
Yes, they have. But I have not purchased merchandise for the past 20 years. So.
Is it true that they've not had a winning record in 16 years?
Well, they've not been to the playoffs, so that's more than likely. Yeah, they've been to the postseason in 15 years. It'll be this year.
That's absolutely amazing.
It's terrible. Yeah. Now you know why Jet fans are the way they are. So let's talk some NFL outside the New York Jets, even though we can talk a little bit about it because there was a game last night in the AFC East. We'll just run through each division here with the 15 minutes that we have talking NFL. Patriots, another win last night to keep their winning streak alive at 8 over the Jets. Jets did as much as they could, but they're just out talented at this stage of the season. Bills are now looks like they're 2 games out. And then they've got a half game, of course, that'll be brought up on Sunday. And I believe that's going to be the game where we're going to see the most weather conditions. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it looks like there's some weather issues in Buffalo potentially.
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland have really poor weather, definitely.
But you could throw Chicago in the mix too, I think, Jim. But nonetheless, those are the three main guys. Yes.
Well, Chicago's not playing at home though.
That's true.
So that we can skip that one for this week.
Yeah, they got 23 mile an hour winds in Cleveland.
Yeah, but look at the gusts.
With
the gusts are in the 30s.
Well, that's not about 23 is still high enough. But yes, if you want to throw in the gusts, then that's even worse.
You can't kick a field goal if you get hit with one of those gusts. You can't do it.
And it might rain. So
probably
and it's 44 only. That's not very warm. So especially when there's 30 mile an hour gusts. That'll be cold.
That's cold.
We have
an expert. We got an expert about Cleveland right there in Mark. He lived half his life there.
Well, the stadium sits right on the lake, and the lake does have a big effect on the winds that come into the stadium, both for the baseball and what was the baseball and now the football team. That's one of the reasons that Cleveland's moving out of Cleveland and to the suburb of Brook Park to get away from all of the weather situations that are occurring, and they feel not helping the Browns, but it's also big monetary motivational reason for Cleveland to make the move as well. So, but when there is weather, you have to check it out in Cleveland to see what the winds are for sure.
So Buffalo, likely snow showers, 17-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm sure there'll be gusts as well. And if it's 36 and snow showers, that means it's going to be downright cold. And Tampa Bay is not used to those conditions. That's definitely going to work against them. They're not any healthier this week. Everybody who was out last week is out this week. For Buffalo, they have some good news injuries and bad news injuries. So, I mean, the only good news injury is Josh Palmer coming back. Big deal, I think. But Dalton Kincaid is going to miss the game. And after what we saw last week with Miami, I don't know what to – I mean, the situation with Buffalo is simple. It looks like you have to stop the running game. And if you can stop the running game, you can stop the Bills.
Well, the Bills can't stop the running game themselves. I mean, they're pathetic themselves.
Yep.
The Bills are very poorly coached. They're wasting Josh Allen's career with that head coach. They need to make changes, and if they don't make changes, nothing's ever going to happen.
Well, I tell you what, if they have a bad spell at the end of this season, he will be fired.
I hope so.
Yeah, because, I mean, you don't get Josh Allen to the playoffs, you're done. I mean, heck, if he gets Josh Allen to the playoffs and they're one and done, he's done. I think they're just waiting for a really bad outcome. So there you go. That's the East. In the North, Pittsburgh's got the 1-game lead now. It's down to 1. Seemed like just a couple of minutes ago it was 3.
But there's a freight train coming, Greg. There's a freight train coming.
And there you go. 1-game lead. Bengals have their last gasp with their matchup with Pittsburgh on Sunday. Yeah. Is it over already? Is Baltimore, we're just going to give them the division?
Well, no, you never know about injuries. So if Cincinnati happens to beat Pittsburgh this week, you're going to have to worry about them, even though they're terrible, except on offense, they're not terrible. I mean, Cincinnati's scoring like 30 points a game. Flacco's playing amazing. The yardage is amazing, but their defense is horrible. It's the opposite end of the stick. I mean, it's just horrible. But I don't know. The NFL is really having a down year, or a couple years, actually. We have the top and the bottom, and it's really that bad. We've got maybe 6-8 teams that are decent. The rest of them is really high school stuff.
Well, Cincinnati's schedule, check this out. After they play this week, they're going to host the Patriots. And then they play Baltimore on Thanksgiving, which we're hearing Joe Burrow is trying to get back for that game, which I don't think it'll matter, of course, if they lose to the Steelers anyway. But I'm not sure they can win the next 2. I guess they just have to hope that they split. And I don't know, Baltimore, who's Baltimore playing? Let's see, Baltimore's next game after the Cleveland game. That's a 4:00 game too in Cleveland. That's weird, isn't it?
Cleveland could beat them. I mean, it's possible. The Cleveland's defense at home has been very tough. It's going to be hard to throw the ball. Cleveland, you can't ever really know what the hell Cleveland's going to do, except they're going to play tough defense. I mean, Mark knows this, what it's like there. But let me tell you something. Baltimore is not a shoe-in. They're not that good. They're not that good.
Yeah, they got a game last week.
I got to ask this question. If Burrow's putting up all these, not Burrow, if Flacco's putting up all these numbers for Cincinnati, what the hell is Burrow going to do for them? He doesn't play defense. You can't, I mean, the guy's putting up 30 points a game, 300 yards, 400 yards. What's Burrow going to do? Put up 500 yards and 40 points?
Well, that's a good coaching decision that has to be made at that point, Jim, because if they're winning with him and they're not turning the ball over, why do you want to interrupt that good message that's going on right there with that football program? I think Burrow would sit for a while. They would probably send out the word that he's healing up and getting ready for the playoffs, but I don't think they make that change instantly, though. I don't believe so.
Flacco's amazing. I mean, yes, he's over 40, but not every over 40 person has to go to a rocking chair. I mean, this guy's pretty damn good.
Baltimore, if they have a chance to lose in the next 2 weeks, this is going to be it, because next week they host the New York Jets. So
yeah, but that's what Jets. Oh
yes.
Oh,
so yeah, yeah. Well,
maybe I don't think the Jets really want to win. Honest to God, I think if they wanted to win, they'd have Tyrod Taylor in there.
No, I don't believe
they
that.
want to win. Fields is out there so they can get a high draft choice. That's all they're doing.
No. They need to develop a winning
Listen,
culture.
You're so biased to the Jets.
I'm telling you right now.
You cannot see the forest for the trees
no.
because you're Jets love.
No, I couldn't. Actually, I hope they lose. But as a fan, what we hope is definitely different than what they do. They're trying to build a winning culture there. Aaron Glenn is not wanting to lose games.
The players are not making that decision. It's the executives. They want a high draft choice.
The executives are Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. And they're not trying to lose. I'm just telling you right now, they need to, at some point, you have to have a winning culture.
No one that wants to win would play Fields as quarterback. No one.
Well, as a backup, perhaps, but not your main go-to guy. No.
And
Tyrod Taylor's a backup for a reason.
He's backing me up. That's how bad it is.
Yes, it is.
Well, again, keep in mind they're paying him a lot of money. So.
Yeah, and he's costing them a lot of money.
All right. So next up is the South, and it looks like it's over, especially as far as that division is concerned. There's no reason to think the Colts aren't going to win it. The question is Houston and Jacksonville. Jacksonville is not playing like a 5-4 team. They are not playing like a winning team right now. And if they want to change their season, well, they got to go out and beat the Chargers. If they could do that, get to 6-4, they might actually be a team that we might have to reckon with. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. And Houston, they have to win this game this week. And I actually think not only do I think they will, but I actually think that they have to win this game easy, because they can't afford to go into a 4-quarter game with a terrible team, because in their next 3 games, they're going to host Buffalo on Thursday Night Football. They're going to Indianapolis, and then they're going to Kansas City. So They got to get rid of Tennessee and just get that game out of the way, because they got 3 really tough games coming up.
And they're playing with a backup quarterback.
That's what they are indeed. Yes.
Who doesn't look too bad, actually. I mean, he looks pretty good.
He's a good backup. He is.
Yeah.
He's not a starter, but he's a good backup.
But Tennessee, I don't give much respect to Tennessee at all, but they look like they're, I don't know if anybody's worse than the Jets, but they look bad.
Well, I think they are worse than the Jets, personally, Jim.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
1 win by 1 point, okay? 1 win by 1 point. Out-yarded every game they played.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why the coach ain't there anymore. So I wonder what, it's not a bad opportunity. It all depends on the front office, because the front office will let them down. It's not a good front office. And I'm not sure that they're going to have, I'm not sure, even with a young quarterback like Ward there, I'm not sure they're going to be able to hire a good coach. I just don't know who would want to go there. I mean, I guess McCarthy is the type of guy that could, because if he'd go to Dallas, he'll go anywhere. So, I mean, McCarthy might be a good pick for Tennessee.
It's all about money. Well, McCarthy could end up with the Giants.
He could. Yeah, that's a much better opportunity. No question about it. AFC West, and we've got 3 teams looking like they are playoff caliber. Denver, Chargers, Chiefs. Chiefs will take on the Broncos. And that spread, is it still 3.5?
There's a lot of 4s.
Wow.
Mark, I mean, do you believe that the Chiefs should be 4 at Denver?
I didn't think they should have been what they were when they opened, Jim. But I can understand what their thinking is here. You've got a Kansas City football team coming off a bye. The world knows about Andy Reid and his success off byes. They have them 2.5 games back, looking up at Denver. You're going to put that down in the must-win category, that situation there. And you've also got a Denver Bronco football team that, while they're on a win, they haven't been impressive wins. And no comparison to quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, always clutch. Bo Nix going backwards right now. I think the odds makers did their work. They did their job. And I think they put up was probably the right number in the game. Although I didn't agree, but I think it is the right number.
You might be right. Bo Nix might be regressing, but he might be regressing right out of the league if he's that bad. I mean, he has not looked anywhere near he did last year.
No, that's confidence is what that is. He's lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what they got to do is they have to. They've been relying on the passing game for way too much. I mean, Peyton's got to get him a running back, and I know Dobbins has been okay, but now he's out. They got this rookie that they drafted who's okay, but they got to give him help, because he is not that type of quarterback that you can just expect him to throw the ball 30, 35 times a game. And it's not like they have a plethora of top receivers either. There's too much being put on his shoulders, and that's Peyton's fault.
But the offensive line has to open the holes. How's the
offensive line is actually considered one of the better offensive lines in the league?
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. Again, it ain't.
Well, if they needed a running back that bad, why didn't they do something that the trade did?
Well, they felt they did. Well, I don't know, but they still had Dobbins, and they just like Dobbins and Harvey. That's what they're going with. So
this game is going to tell us a lot.
Yep.
Well,
and keep in mind too, this is the funny thing is because we see how they've had to be kind of had these weak losses, weak wins, and we get that. But let's also remember that in all 7 of their wins in the winning streak, with several of the bad wins, they've outgained all 7 teams, and they've also beaten Houston and Philadelphia on the road. So they're just beating who they have to beat and doing what they have to do. If they were the Chiefs, I don't think we'd be even talking about this. We'd be going, oh, that's just, they just do what they have to do. Ugly wins. It's the Chiefs. But because they're not proven, and look, deservedly so. I'm not trying to sit here and give them excuses. I'm just saying, I guess we'll find out in the game on Sunday afternoon, whether or not.
If this was the only game that somebody put a gun to my head and I say you have to make a play, I would probably take Denver +4. I mean, I just think at altitude, great defense.
It screams value, is what it does.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just
keep in mind the Kansas City Chiefs are 0-4 this year in 1-score games. 0-4.
This Spags and Reed and Mahomes thing is some days going to, it's going to disappear. I mean, someday it's going to float away into darkness. And this is a big number on the road against a quality team that's 8-2 on the year. I mean, my goodness.
And Denver has covered 6 of the last 7 against the Chiefs.
I'm not saying I love them, but I just think the value is with the dog.
Don't forget the game last year in Kansas City when Denver had them beat, and then they had that field goal blocked at the end of the game. So,
right. I remember that.
Hey, let's reset this game, guys. Let's just look at this as if it's a playoff game. And if it was a playoff game this weekend, what would the line in this game be if it was a playoff game?
Where's the game being played?
Denver. Let's keep it right where it is.
Oh boy.
It wouldn't.
Why, you think it would be higher?
No, it would be lower. It's all packed in here because of the Kansas City need in those situations. If it was a playoff game, Kansas City would be 2.5 in this football game.
Which is what they opened it at.
Yep.
This week. Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably had a lot of people going, oh, they're not going to lose this game, 2.5. That's easy. But now that it's up to 4, it's like, wait a second. I could take Denver and lose by 3 and I cover? All right. NFC, we only have a couple of minutes left. So let's just don't have to talk much about the NFC East, except for the fact that Philadelphia has that monster game against the Detroit Lions in the NFC North. The line is creeping up to 3. So that's going to be a good one.
It is.
And if Philly wins that one, then they're officially dangerous again.
Philadelphia is 3 at circa. And there's a lot of 2.5s minus 20, 21. It definitely is almost 3. I have to take the Lions +3. I mean, they're a freight train when they're healthy, and they're pretty healthy.
Yeah, keep an eye on whether DJ Reed comes back. That could happen this week. Marcus Davenport, he could come back. So there's some injury. They're getting a little healthier, as you said, Jim. So keep an eye on those guys, see if they're back. They're now on a run of 19-2 against the spread off a double-digit ATS win, 2-0 in that role this year. And the Eagles will be playing the Cowboys next week on the road. The Detroit Lions will be hosting the New York Giants next week. Speaking of the Giants, we'll be playing the Packers. That's a pretty big line. That's up to 7, I believe it is, with Jameson Winston getting the backup bump. The backup bump.
You also have a new coach there. That's another bump.
That's the double bump.
I've already taken 7.5 with the Giants. Now, heaven forbid, Jameis gets it in his head that he has to throw the ball to everybody, no matter what uniform.
That could happen.
Because it's amazing what he's capable of doing.
Green Bay, after this game, they're going to be on a 3-game NFC North trek. So all 3 of their games coming up will be against NFC teams. Actually, the Packers, NFC teams. They'll be playing Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago in the next 3 weeks. They're 7-14 against the spread in the last 21 road games as a road favorite.
What's the record again?
7-14 as a road favorite in the last 21.
You realize they're 3 division games.
3 division games coming up. Yep.
Wow.
The South, Tampa Bay's got that game with the Bills. Carolina, big game with Atlanta. We all know Atlanta is desperate for wins, but they just really haven't had a way to beat any of these teams. They've been close against good teams, and now they're in a really desperate situation here against the Carolina Panthers. So
these are bottom feeder teams. These are teams that'll step up every once in a while, but they're not good teams.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Right.
No.
Atlanta will be playing the Saints and the Jets after this on the road. So they have an opportunity to get to 6-6 if they can kind of get going here. And then, of course, last but not least, you've got the matchups in the NFC West. San Francisco with Brock Purdy back at Arizona, and the Rams taking on Seattle in one of the biggest games of the season.
That's huge. Mark, isn't that? I mean, that's a big game, Mark.
That's as good as it gets, Jim. This football game.
Yes.
I mean, it's almost as if it's a playoff game, and if it was a playoff game, it would probably be for the NFC Championship. That's how great it is,
The way they're playing, they look like right now in the NFC, they look like the best teams.
They sure do.
Now, the way I'm thinking, maybe Detroit's looking the best, like right in that mix with them. I'm not trying to throw Philadelphia out of it, but they haven't looked that good. But the NFC has better teams this year. AFC's weaker. So
they are, and it's you can validate that just by the record, the head-to-head record between the two division or the two conferences. The NFC has won more and covered more in those head-to-head matchups. It was a wide gap margin 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's narrowed a little bit, but the NFC does hold the margin.
Sean McVay, 13-2 against the spread all time in the second of back-to-back division games. Meanwhile, the Rams have beaten Seattle 3 of the last 4. They are 3-0-1 against the spread in those last 4 against the Seahawks. And the Rams will be hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week. Seattle will be at Tennessee next week.
Well, Tampa Bay is in deep trouble.
Buffalo, yeah, they need a win.
And then the Rams, oh my goodness.
Yes. Patriots, Buffalo, and the Rams in consecutive weeks.
Wow.
So, yeah. They're lucky they're in that division.
Well, that's one of the reasons I bet them to get to the playoffs, because the division so sucks and they should win it. Although I think Atlanta wins this week, but
well, keep this in mind though. I just mentioned how tough that 3-game stretch is. Check it out after New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, and Carolina.
They pay a penance first and then they get blessed.
Yes, exactly.
I like the way you put that.
Yes. So that's going to wrap it up for our ProLine Pigskin Friday broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the join button to check out our YouTube membership. Let us know if you have any questions or comments along the way. And the best way to do that is to go to our message board community. All you do is hit that community tab. You can also see that on the homepage of our channel. Click that. Hey, start a conversation. You can do that, of course, for every video, but you can also do that for the entire channel if you go to our community page. And we'll be doing this all over again starting next week when we talk about week 12 in the NFL, week 13 in college football. And next week will be the precursor to Thanksgiving week. So we're almost there, gentlemen. Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks.
Well,
it's a double week in the Circus Survivor contest too, so it'll count twice.
Scott Pritchard has an entry well, there's only 8 left in the 5,000 at Westgate. He's got one of them.
Oh, he does.
Then there's 1,000 in the Survivor at Circa, and I think he has 1 or 2 of them. Wow. So I mean, he's doing really well. He might cash some big tickets.
All right.
All it takes is one, Jim.
and I know he's also hedging and playing against so
for sure.
So he's making money each week. He's already profited by the whole thing, but that's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, he's a sharp cookie, very sharp.
He really is. He really is. Yes.
And you can check Scott out. He was on the show on Wednesday, correct?
Yes, he was.
So you can check that out. We have a link in the description of this video right now for the Wednesday show with Jim Feist, Dom DeMarco's, the show I did on Wednesday night, and also you can check out a few of the other shows that we've done here on the channel. Don't forget also to check out the show with Andy and Jim, which will be available later tonight here on Proline TV. You can check out the Penn State post-game show, which is actually going to be on Sunday morning this week, not Saturday night. So you can check that out at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning right here on Proline TV. For Mark Lawrence, I'm Greg DePalma, and we hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you next week.